The big question going in is whether Sonic Rumble is just a Fall Guys clone with a fresh coat of blue hedgehog paint, or if it brings something unique to the table. While there are some fun twists and a lot of Sonic charm, Sonic Rumble will feel incredibly familiar if you've played even a little bit of Fall Guys. Each match in Sonic Rumble pits you against 31 other players in 3 different rounds, each one eliminating more players until a final winner is crowned. Sounds just like Fall Guys, right? But there is one key difference. Winning isn't just about crossing the finish line first. Instead, the final round decides the winner based on who has the most rings. Like in every Sonic game, rings are everywhere. You can find them scattered across the levels or steal them from other players using power-ups. On paper, this twist sounds like a unique way to shake things up, but in practice, it doesn't drastically change the core gameplay. It just adds another thing to keep track of, with the final round turning into a chaotic scramble for rings. Thankfully, Sonic Rumble does offer a decent variety of game modes, with more expected to come post-launch. The different power-ups also add an extra layer of strategy, and like any mobile game, there are plenty of unlockable characters and items you can purchase using in-game currency. Thankfully, rings are the primary currency, and they're pretty easy to collect. The gameplay itself follows a familiar formula: running, jumping, dodging obstacles, and trying to outlast your opponents. The platforming rounds require you to reach the goal as fast as possible, while challenge rounds test survival skills. There's even a team-based puzzle round where players have to roll giant balls to unlock doors. And yes, just like in Fall Guys, team rounds can be frustrating when your teammates have no idea what they're doing. Luck-based minigames make an appearance too. If you've played Fall Guys, you've likely run into games where you have to guess the right path through breakable doors. Sonic Rumble includes similar minigames, and unfortunately, they seem to pop up more often than expected. Losing is frustrating, but losing purely due to luck is even worse. The biggest issue comes from movement speed and controls. While it makes sense that Sonic Rumble isn't as fast as a mainline Sonic game, the characters move way too slowly. It feels like everyone has gum stuck to their shoes. The sluggish movement is made worse by stiff touchscreen controls, which have noticeable input lag. Jumping feels too floaty, making precise platforming more difficult than it should be. If you're serious about playing Sonic Rumble, a controller might be necessary. While it's unclear if that will fully fix the platforming issues, it will at least make movement more responsive compared to using the touchscreen. The biggest shift from Fall Guys happens in the final round. Instead of racing to the finish line, it's all about collecting and holding on to rings. This does give Sonic Rumble a unique identity, but it can also be frustrating. Even if you play perfectly, someone can swoop in at the last second, steal a pile of rings, and snatch victory away from you. The unpredictability might be exciting for some, but it also means skill isn't always the deciding factor in a win. If there's one thing Sonic Rumble nails, it's the Sonic fan service. There's a solid roster of playable characters, including deep cuts like Zavok. The levels themselves are based on iconic locations like Seaside Hill and Chemical Plant Zone, bringing back plenty of nostalgia. The challenges don't necessarily feel inspired by Sonic, but seeing toy versions of the characters running around classic worlds with funky remixes playing in the background is still fun. Surprisingly, Sonic Rumble has a story, which is rare for a mobile Sonic game. The game takes place in Egg Toy Land, a strange toy world created by Dr. Eggman. Sonic and Tails receive toy versions of themselves as an invitation, and Sonic, being Sonic, accepts the challenge. It's a simple setup, but considering how few Sonic mobile games even bother with a story, it's a nice touch. Hopefully, cutscenes get voice acting in the final release. The soundtrack is mostly remixed tracks from past games, particularly Sonic Colors and Sonic Lost World. Since many of the game's stages come from these titles, the music fits well. There are some original tracks too, and they blend in nicely. While more fresh music would be welcome, Sonic games have always had great soundtracks, so it's hard to complain. Sonic Rumble is a mixed bag. The Sonic aesthetics and fan service are great, making it a fun time in short bursts. But if you take it too seriously, the imprecise platforming, slow movement, and luck-based gameplay can lead to frustration. The focus on ring collecting instead of straightforward racing does give the game some identity, but it also adds randomness that might not appeal to everyone. If Sonic Rumble can fix its control issues before launch, it has potential to be a great Fall Guys alternative with a Sonic twist. For now, it's a fun but flawed experience that will likely appeal most to Sonic fans looking for something casual to play on mobile. If you love the Sonic universe, it might be worth checking out. Just don't expect to be speeding through levels like you're used to in mainline Sonic games. That wraps up this demo review of Sonic Rumble. If you found this helpful, make sure to stay tuned for more gaming reviews. Until next time, keep on gaming.